people are spoken out loud. Now here's your host, Sonia Green.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Well. Listen, I'm getting ready to change. You know what? I'm going to change to my street name, which most of y'all don't know about, and it's called Hot Sauce. So it's a long story behind it. I'll tell you about it one day, but right now we're not going to talk about that. I want to talk about. I'm excited to have a special guest on. And again, let me just say welcome to JTOLTV Talk, where I am your host, Hot Sauce. Listen, we're going to be talking about wrestling. Now, only thing I remember about wrestling is Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Randy Savage, Rodney Rod Piper, Junkyard Dog, King Kong Bundy, and the Iron Sheik. Those are things I remember about them. And we used to watch them. I was kind of forced to watch them, not necessarily that I really enjoyed watching them, but I didn't have a choice because I had all male cousins. And we were raised like brothers and sisters, so they predominantly down the TV. So I came to appreciate it. I don't still watch it. I watch it a little bit, but it's not one of my things that I watch. But I do have some insight about it. But check it out here. So I just want to say today is a very special show to me. I've been trying to get my brother on to come on and talk about his wrestling days. He's a preacher out there in Long Island. Y'all remember Long Island Lolita? Well, we got Long Island Johnny O up here and get ready to talk about some wrestling because he was a professional. Now let me change that. He still might be a professional wrestler. I don't know. Where before he was wrestling with the flesh and blood, but now he's wrestling with spiritual things. So we're going to talk about the days when he was wrestling with flesh and blood. And I want to bring up my guest is Johnny Oval. What's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm good, Sonia. I mean, Hot Sauce. I'm good. How you doing? All right?
I'm doing good. So listen, let me just tell you a little bit about Johnny O. Johnny O is a pastor of Sound of Heaven Ministry out there in New York. New York. So y'all know, listen, are you near Pete Davidson where he be taking Kim Kardashian? Are you near that spot?
Where's he taking her? Hamptons, maybe?
No, he's taking a boat. They say, I don't know what they call it. Staten Island.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not by Staten Island. No, I'm on Long Island. I'm on Long Island.
Not long.
Well, we're close enough. Everything, if there was no traffic, it'd be about an hour away. But with traffic, you're talking 2.5, 3 hours. So.
Wow, I didn't know that. But anyway, let's get back on track right here. We're talking Johnny Oval. He's a pastor he's an apostle out at Sound of Heaven Ministries out there in Long Island. He was, and I don't know if he still is. I never asked him. He still holds his professional, wrestling thing he do. Y'all forgive me. Y'all know I'm a woman. I don't know terminology. So anyway, he's a professional wrestler. He started wrestling in 2001, where he debuted as a professional wrestler. He's under the PWA. Now y'all gonna have to, you just gonna have to tell y'all these acronyms. I feel like I'm working with the government. The government has 10 billion acronyms for everything. So he was in that organization, the PWA. As I told you, we watched Hulk Hogan, those cats. So, and I'm sure he can tell us a little bit insight about that. But Johnny, can you just tell us about listen, and now I didn't tell him this. They said that his favorite move was the penetrator. That was his don't move. That don't let, how y'all, some people like, just let me get that right hook. Just let me, you don't. So, and so he has that. And then another thing too, I asked him on his, I like to do some research. I didn't do my best on it, but I did enough. And so on there, they list about 11 fights that he had. But as we talk, he'll begin to share a little bit more. So, brother, can you tell us about tell us about how did you get into wrestling as a profession?
Sure. So growing up, I was always a huge wrestling fan. I used to watch it with my little bro, who's now my little bigger brother now, and me, him, and my dad and my mom would be around. Would always grow up watching the WWF, now WWE. Back all the way in the early '90s, the mid '80s, late '80s, early '90s. That's kind of like my sweet spot that I got absolutely hooked on, and I just was drawn to it. I love the fighting, the theater, the excitement, the crowd, the passion. It was just such an exciting thing to be watching. And so one day I decided that, you know what, might be crazy enough to try this thing. And I would say in high school, I played baseball, and I was just a big athletic person. In around school and out of school, doing things, football, etc. I decided to play. I decided to give everything up and try being a professional wrestler. I did some research. I was all set in my mind to move up to Boston, Massachusetts, and train at Killer Kowalski School. I'm sure many of you guys remember, maybe way back in the day, Killer Kowalski. But I was going to train in his school until I found a wrestling school right on Long Island in Hicksville, which was about 20 minutes away from where I live, 20-minute train ride from where I live. So I made the plunge, I made the jump. I started training in 11th grade of high school. I gave up all my after-school activities in high school, and I used to go to school, come home, take a train, 20 minutes to Hicksville, walk about 30 minutes from the train station to the place, train for 3-4 hours, walk back on the train back over to where I live, and then walk back to my house. I'd be in bed by like 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 nights a week. So that's what I started doing in 11th grade. And it really just kind of took off from there.
Wow. So you were dedicated.
Oh, yeah.
That's a serious dedication. Now, I can't say anything because I was the same way about music. So playing my instruments and just involved in a lot of stuff. So, wow. So you developed your love just by hanging out with your parents and your brother, just watching it. It was real good those days. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome back in the day.
Yeah. Then when Hawk the Giant, you remember Hawk the Giant? I mean, Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant, yeah. Hulk Hogan.
Woo, yeah, I remember those days. So, but okay, so after you graduated from high school, how did you get involved in it? How did you wind up to become a professional wrestler? How did that process work?
Well, this actually revolves, believe it or not, around a Christian angle to it. And it's such a unique part of my story because when I first started training, I was not a Christian. In fact, I started training in, September of 2001. And I remember going to the wrestling school, and my dad was around, and he paid for my first year of training up front. And 30 days after he signed me up to train, my dad died suddenly overnight at 44 years old of a heart attack. And I remember the day that I found out my dad died, I still trained. It was a Thursday night, and I still went to training. And just like any other day, I had to I wasn't going to sit home and just think about everything that happened. But I did know that my life was going to change after that forever. Interestingly enough, I just kept training 3, 4, 5 months in. I started getting my first matches, started working the independent scene around the New York, New Jersey area, was working some battle royals, with the 20, 30 other guys, just getting beat up. At that point in time, I was about 150 pounds soaking wet, purple and blue hair, and, just a high flyer. And I just took to it. It was a very natural thing for me. And I enjoyed doing it. And I love that people loved when I wrestled. I always wanted to make an impact on people's lives. I wanted to be the person that the father would take their kid to go see. I want to see Johnny over wrestle today. And so, in doing that, I met this guy, Bobby Rydell, who came with, if you remember, an old school tag team in the 80s, early 90s called the Rockers, with Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Bobby was Marty Jannetty's agent, and he had booked a seminar at our school with Marty Jannetty. It was the first seminar I was able to go to, and it was definitely a divine connection. I met Bobby. We stayed in touch. And I remember him always asking me questions about God. And that was really weird for me because I was raised Catholic. I believed in God. There wasn't a church goer. I lived by no moral standard at all whatsoever. But he kept asking me what my thoughts are on God and life and different things like that. And I just thought maybe he just wants to see who I really am as a person, not just somebody trying to get booked on wrestling shows. And I remember him taking the time to, we used to walk around this place, if anybody's from Long Island, called the Delco Plaza. It's a big, it's just like a supermarket shopping center. And we used to walk around, and he was just, honestly, he was ministering to me over and over and over again. Eventually he invited me to his church, and that's where I ended up giving my life to the Lord to become a Christian, was at Bobby's church. But in that, I remember it was very weird, because I remember God giving me these really crazy experiences right off the bat, especially when it came to wrestling. I used to hear his voice. I used to really have these impressions in my spirit about him, and almost like we were having conversation. I remember as clear as day, something dropped into my spirit, and it was asking me, it was like, will you give up wrestling to follow me? And I did not want to do that. I hated that. And I was running away from that. And it wasn't like a long run, but I just kind of kept ignoring the voice that would ask me that. And I remember going, yeah, you know what? I got to the point, if God is real, and God does have a plan and purpose for my life, like was being told, I will give it up for him. And that was the hardest thing for me to do. And it was so funny, because it was like the second that I gave up wrestling in my heart and truly gave it over to God, as if I wasn't going to do this anymore, was the second that God took it in his hands and started opening doors for wrestling that I couldn't even imagine. And with that, I was invited to a tryout through Bobby. Bobby was also friends with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, who became a very influential part of my life. And he was starting up a wrestling promotion called the PWA, the Power Wrestling Alliance. And he was having tryouts to put a roster together all the way out in Wilcox, Arizona, which is about 2 stoplights in the whole entire town. So to make a real long story short, I flew out to Wilcox, Arizona. I fought a guy named Vision with a mullet in the middle of a bull riding rodeo. Had a tremendous match with Vision, and got signed and hooked up with Ted, and began traveling with him on all of his shows all across the country, Canada and Mexico, and did that for a good part of 7-8 years. But it was wrestling with a different twist to it. We'd put on these wrestling shows, and then we'd be giving altar calls at the end of the shows around the storyline of the wrestling show that was taking place, which was pretty dope. Now, while that was going on, my wrestling career was also taking off. And I mean, I've wrestled for dozens upon dozens of promotions. PWA was my staple promotion under Ted. But I've worked for some of the biggest promotions across the country. Never officially wrestled for WWE, but I did have a few matches for OVW, which was their kind of like their training camp, where I got to wrestle some of the stars that are on the TV today. Well, not anymore today, but in the mid 2000s, Rene Dupree, the French guys. William Regal, his 2 guys were also involved there. I forgot their names off the top of my head. A lot of chair shots, but so it really definitely experienced some pretty awesome moments in my wrestling career, for sure.
Wow. So I think this guy came to new life when Kim Clement was here, because I remember him bringing a wrestling team. At the time, I didn't care about wrestling. I didn't care. So, so they were there for about, he brought all these big guys in. And
was it the wrestlers, or was it the power team when they would break bricks and stuff?
I can't remember. It's been some years. But I think they probably did the power team, because that grabs people first, the power team. And so then they were showing how they ministered Christ. So when Kim Clement was there, we had everybody come through there because they wanted to be a part of the Kick Devil Butt generation. But anyway, let's just move on. So wow, that is so dope. So you kind of got in that way. So how many fights did you fight? How many matches did you fight, and how many did you win? And what was your worst fight, and what was your best fight?
All right. Oh my gosh, man. I mean, we're talking hundreds upon hundreds, maybe 1,000 or so. I mean, there was years that out of the 52 weekends out of the year, I would be booked on 50 of them, 51 weekends, and multiple matches in a weekend for 5, 6, 7 years of my life. I would almost never be home. But as far as my character goes, now I'll tell you a funny story, and not many people know this. Well, the people who know me know this, but not many people who don't know me personally know this. So my real name is not Johnny Ova. My real name is John Sliansky. Johnny Ova is actually my wrestling name, but everybody calls me Johnny Ova, so I just kind of kept it there. And so how I got this name Johnny Ova was in my first ever wrestling match. I was going for my finisher, the penetrator, which you had described, which if you want to know what that is, it's like a suplex where you stick the guy's arm over your head, but instead of grabbing their pants and throwing them over your head, I would scoop the opposite leg, connect my hands, I'd pick him up, and he'd turn around upside down, and I'd drive him headfirst into the mat when he rolled over in my arms. So when I hooked his arm over my head, I wanted to yell something to the crowd because they were really ripping on me and making fun of me. So I went to yell, "He's over." But when I said that, my voice cracked, and I went, "He's over," like that. And so ever since then, and my name wasn't Johnny Over at that time. It was actually my original first character was I was a Shawn Michaels wrestling fan named the Kid Heartbreak. And they were having me just be this kid in the crowd getting beat up. I was like 15 years old. So when I yelled, "He's over," my voice cracked and it was over. My friends just kept going, "He's over, he's over." So as a joke, the ring announcer in my second match ever called me Johnny, and he goes, "Over," like that. And so the place went nuts and was laughing. And I just kept it. Johnny Over just became my name. So that's how I got my wrestling name. But oh my gosh, hundreds of matches. So I was the guy that would run his mouth and talk so much trash. And I am a very good trash talker. I do have to say, it's one of my anointings. I'm anointed to talk smack. Okay, so I would get the crowd to hate me so much, and there's definitely techniques to use that. One of my favorite techniques to get the crowd to hate me instantly. And we're not talking about like flipping the bird and doing. I mean, we call that cheap heat. Anybody hates you if you start cursing at them. But if you have skill, you can get people to hate you without doing much. And I guess I just have a face to make people do that. But I used to pick a kid in the crowd, and I would make it my goal to make the kid cry by the time the match got started. And so I would just be yelling at him, telling him I'm going to beat him and his dad up at the same time. Just stuff like that. And when they see me, I would ignore everybody else, and I would just be yelling at a 5-year-old kid in the front row of the wrestling show. And when they just saw me going to town on this kid, they hated me so much. It was crazy. I mean, I've had hot sauce thrown at me. I've had batteries thrown at me. I mean, you pretty much name it. It was brutal. Some of the things, because these wrestling fans are nuts. They really believe this stuff is I mean, they wouldn't let me leave arenas. It was wild. But I was the bad. So I was the bad guy, and I lost way more times than I won. And I blame that all on my agent, Bobby. And it's a little inside joke. Every time he manages me, I lose. And so it was at 8. I was like, "Man, you're just the worst manager of all time." But anyways, I used to lose way more, but I was always the champion because it wasn't televised. So you would never know who the champion is. So I would be the champion, not the world champion, more like the cruiserweight or light heavyweight champion. I would come out in Chicago, for example. I'd lose the belt, and then I'd be wrestling in Louisiana in 2 days, and I'd be the champion again and lose the belt. And then I'd go to California, I'd be the champion and lose, because I was on roster. And so one of my main jobs with Ted was I would always fight like the local top indie wrestling guy and put him over, make him shine. And that was what I was really good at. Much like Ted DiBiase did in the WWF in the 80s. You'd hate him so much, it didn't matter if he fought a fire hydrant. You would cheer for whoever walked through that curtain. And I took a lot of pride in making sure that I was over, that people enjoyed my matches, that they were into it, that they were excited for it. I would say that at one point I held 27 championships at one time. So that was pretty cool. Or over the course of a short period of time, I have a really cool photo of me with all these belts wrapped around my arms and my waist and stuff. And I would say one of my highlights of my wrestling career, I have so many, and that was the one thing that was pretty cool with God, is that when I gave it up in the flesh for God at the cost of possibly never wrestling again, God took it in his hands and brought me so much more further than I probably could have gone by myself. And I've wrestled literally, you name them, and I've pretty much wrestled them. I would say the crowning moment of my wrestling career, the exclamation point, was I got to be in the ring with Shawn Michaels, and I did a run-in one of his matches, and Shawn Michaels was clearing house. Like Shawn Michaels was, the bad guys were beating on people. I joined in to help beating on people. It was actually Greg the Hammer Valentine, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Doink the Clown, and me. And we were beating up on, I'm trying to remember, Tito Santana. We were beating up on Tito Santana, and we were putting the boots to him. And all of a sudden, Shawn Michaels' music hits. He runs out. Place is going nuts. 3,000 people there. He flies in, he's bumping everybody around, punch, popping everybody, and then he turned around and super kicked me, hit me with his finisher. So I was able to sell that. Never been so happy to get kicked in the face in my life. But I was able to sell Shawn Michaels' finisher, take that. It was really because Shawn Michaels was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. So to be in the ring with him, phenomenal. I would say part two of that was Teddy DiBiase was way retired when he was working with me. He has a lot of back issues. And so he was out of the ring and I don't think he's wrestled since 1995 or even like took a bump landing. And it was in 2007, 6, 7, he did a wrestling seminar, and he actually just called me in the ring after the seminar because I would go with him on his seminars, and he would use me as a demo to like, all right, let me show you how to do this and some of the techniques that we want to work on here. And it was pretty dope that he used me, and it just turned into a full-fledged match. We just did a 20-minute on-the-spot spontaneous match. He was bumping for me, taking body slams, clotheslines, some of my moves, spinning heel kicks, cross bodies and stuff. And he hasn't done that. And I'm so glad his wife didn't kill me for that because he's not supposed to be landing on his back. But that was amazing because Ted is one of the best wrestlers of all time. So,
wow, you've been busy, man. So you not only do you talk street, you talk smack, so nobody can out smack you, huh?
No, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. I usually people get angry quick.
So you like Chris Rock?
Yeah, right. Except I duck the smacks. I duck them.
And just like my brother, he tells so many jokes that you want to do smack me. So I understand I understand how Will Smith felt. And I always want to beat my brother up. But listen, we're gonna take a commercial break, and we will be right back with more with Johnny O, who I found out that's not his real last name, that's his stage name. But I can't. Selinsky, is that what you said?
Sliansky.
See, I wouldn't even know. Somebody said, "Do you know Johnny?" Nope. You said Johnny O. Yeah, I would know that cat. So we'll be right back after this station break. Hold on.
Please don't stop. Oh, don't stop. Behold the king, hello the game you've never seen. One shot.
Hey, what's up? I'm Coach E, the owner of Fit Habit Fitness and Supplements. Most of our clients come to us because they don't have time to get to the gym. They hate sharing equipment at the gym. They need more accountability. They need someone to prepare a meal plan and monitor their daily food intake. They hate doing cardio all day. They hate drinking shakes all day, and they want real food. They need to lose more than 50 pounds, have small children at home. They want not just a six-pack, but they want their life back. They want to build confidence, look great, but also feel great. They want to lose the weight and keep it off as a lifestyle change. Get off the high blood pressure medication, the list goes on. Our online training is a new and exciting way for me to offer cost-effective fitness and nutrition, life-changing transformation coaching for the entrepreneur who works from home, who needs an effective program without the limitations and expenses of the gym. Our coaching program can be utilized by anyone, anywhere, offering convenience, responsiveness, flexibility, and accountability. Best of all, I can empower my clients with more accountability and support than I ever could in person. So I want to talk to you today. Let's schedule a free consultation and goal assessment so I can see if you will be a great fit for our fitness and nutrition coaching program. Click the link below to get started today. Let's get fit. Peace.
I want to say this to you all, being prophetic apostolic people. You are vital. The gifts that you have in your life are actually tools and weapons that God has sharpened in you to bring freedom and deliverance. Apostle Ivory Hopkins, the general of deliverance, saying, get her done, soldiers. And always remember, God, he is watching.
Easy on the chain.
Savage,
Sports,
savage,
sports,
savage,
sports,
We ain't taking no short, no
savage,
sports,
savage,
sports,
savage,
sports,
east, west, south, north.
savage,
sports,
savage,
sports,
savage,
sports,
We ain't taking no short, no
savage.
sports.
Welcome back to JTOLTV Talk with my special guest, Johnny Ova of the PWA. And he's a professional wrestler with a twist. He's saved, filled with Holy Ghost, and can cast out devils, lay hands, all that stuff that y'all need. So if y'all don't, and not only that, God had the nerve to give him some street talk credibility. So
I don't mess around, hot sauce. I don't mess around, hot sauce.
So I'm really excited because I've been trying to get him to do a show about wrestling. I'm still praying that we can get him on to do just an hour show and just talk about what's happening out here in this wrestling streets. So you were just saying that you had an opportunity to hang out with some of these, you were the street talker. In other words, you were the instigator of a lot of things. You were the bad boy of wrestling at that time, to cause the people to not like you, and so they can boo you, and then so what happened when they booed you? What happened? Did they take you up in the ring to fight? What was that like?
No, they would just jump on my case at all. We had some incidents where these fans get a little crazy, not realizing it is just a show. But I got a funny story to share on that, but because it involves my wife. So the first thing is that my wife, Rachel, when we first started dating, never seen me wrestle before. She just showed me from the church, and she found out I was a wrestler. She wanted to come see me wrestle in person. And at that time, I mean, I was at the end of my career, but I was doing a lot of the local shows and stuff. And so I was her first wrestling show ever was against ECW superstar Raven in a no falls count anywhere, no holds barred a street fight. And if anybody watches wrestling and knows Raven is like the king of hardcore, barbed wire, baseball bats, thumbtacks, tables, ladders, all that stuff. And so when I found out that was my matchup for the card that Rachel's first match was going to be on, oh my goodness, man, I was like, this is gonna be a baptism by fire for her to see this. And luckily, I just work really good with these guys. And so me and Raven, you can actually watch that on YouTube. You search Johnny Over as Raven. It's a long match, 35, 40 minutes long, but it was a good one. It was a real good one. We had some good high spots and stuff. If you look to the left, you'll see Rachel in the crowd, hands on her face. She's with her sister, Rebecca, the whole entire time. It's like my heart was racing, my palms were sweaty. But even the funnier part would be the second fight that she saw me, and she brought her parents to the show. And so now I have my today mother-in-law, father-in-law, watching me wrestle for the first time. My father-in-law was a huge wrestling fan. He was pumped up. My mother-in-law just doesn't understand all the violent stuff with it. Second generation worship leader. So she's watching all and the wrestling crowd is just a raucous, just crazy, screaming, cursing, it's wild. It's a wild crowd just in general. So we're in this small arena, and I see I'm wrestling two local guys. I'm like, oh, this is not going to be as bad as Rachel's first one when I'm wrestling Raven. And so we get so much heat, which is so much like hatred from the crowd. It was a tag team match. It was me and my brother Joe. We're known as Custom Vinyl, and we're taking on these other two guys. And I remember we were getting so much just junk being yelled at us from the crowd that people were like coming up to the side of the guardrails, swinging, trying to hit us when we went down outside the ring. They were legitimately trying to punch us. And I remember sitting on the ring, on the apron, on the corner, and my brother's in the ring. We're working, and I'm looking down, and Bobby's our manager, of course. So, that's already we're looking for a loss there, right? But Bobby's our manager, and this kid comes up and runs, and it's just right in front of my now in-laws, my wife now, and my sister-in-law. This kid runs up and swings and punches Bobby right in the back of the head. So for real. So I just see Bobby just cover his head like this. I jump off the apron, fly off the apron. I grab this kid. I drag him over the rail, and I just start unleashing all over him on the thing. Because listen, once you cross the line of jumping that rail and touch the wrestler, it's fair game for whatever happens. You're now putting somebody else's livelihood in line. And you don't know, some of these people have guns, knives. I mean, it's a crazy world we live in, right? So this kid swings, hits Bobby. I jump down, I grab him over, drag him over the rail. I'm literally, and again, I am man of God. I'm preaching all over the world. I got my worship leader, mother-in-law. It's the first time she's watching me wrestle. My second time there. I mean, me and Rachel have been on like 4 dates. My girlfriend Rachel, her sister Rebecca, and they just watch me drag this guy over, and I'm just unleashing. I'm just punching this kid over and over and stomping him out and stuff. And I remember just looking up, and my mother was like a dead silence in the crowd. The security guard gets him, picks the kid up, throws him out. I remember standing on the apron. I'm like, well, that was a good 3-week relationship. Grand opening, grand closing.
That is funny. That is funny. So listen, I wanted to try and see, can I pull up this? So I forgot I got another option. So hold on for 1 second, brother. I just want to try to pull it up.
Do you have a YouTube? Are you able to put a YouTube link up there?
I'll do it. We'll talk about that. I'll take care of that for you.
If you go to YouTube and search Johnny Ova highlights, there's a cool 2-minute highlight video. That's pretty dope.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do that. So let me just share this for you. Wow, that's pretty. I didn't know that. So let me check this out. So hold on, bro. Let me get this for you. I want it. Hold on 1 second. I just pulled it up. Here we go. Let me see. Will it come on now? Come on.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us as always here on JCW PCTV.
Look at that handsome guy.
That's a handsome cat.
New Jersey at Lucky's nightclub. Mike Berkowitz and Two Fat
Cocky.
and at this time.
Oh, yeah. I'm a good guy here.
Of JCW, Fred the Elephant Boy. Fred, welcome.
You're welcome.
The guy talking right now is Fred the Elephant Boy from Howard Stern.
Oh, wow.
Good to see you again. So hot from seeing but the same I got on the sidewalk from Ricky Hall. I'm not going to forget it.
You want to translate that?
Well, what Fred was trying to say is that during last show, me and him were heinously attacked by Livewire, Ricky O, and John Shane, and he will not take it. Something will have to be done.
How old am I here? I would probably say I'm probably 19 here.
And you want to talk about, nice handshake there. Some sportsmanship, a rare thing in this day and age. You want to talk about an underdog. Johnny Ova is about the smallest guy you'll ever see in this business. But Johnny Ova, a poster boy, if you will, for overcoming adversity. In that match, he took such a beating at the hands of a number of superstars, including Sean Sheridan, who got a straitjacket in after Ova had eliminated him. And Ova still came back to pin Dave Greco to become, for the first time, the JCW Light Heavyweight Champion.
I tell you,
so this is my first title defense as JCW Light Heavyweight Champion.
They fight and they get what they want.
And we saw Dan Barry last month, who put on a great match with Damian Dragon, ducks the clothesline. Oh, and lands a kick into the side here. Ice cream truck's here. And
let's go, Ova.
At this time now, Two Fat steps up, and I'm being joined by, well, let's see. Who am I being joined by?
You know my name, C.
Yeah. I'm being joined by Ricky O under a mask.
Address me by my new name.
The
I'm just wearing, it's my strategy. I'm just wearing them out right now, making them tired.
That's right. I told that idiot the ice cream truck was outside, and he left like the idiot he is.
I love that move. I don't know what you did, but I
like you were last month, idiot.
Just drag him right over by his head.
If I could ask what your business is out here. I'm scouting.
And they always pull my hair, Sonia. I mean, hot sauce. They always pull my hair. There's a cost to being. There's a cost to being beautiful.
We've got the bridge
Tell me
there,
about it, I know.
over.
Little pun there, Berkowitz?
Well, not intended.
Last month I had you convinced I was Bandito.
You didn't have me convinced for nothing.
This month I ruined his life.
Man, yeah, this has got to be like 2004.
I would like to emphasize to the audience, come to a JTW event in your hometown. You will see the next superstars in the sport.
Right.
That's right, Elephant Boy.
Well, what Fred said there is you're going to see the next superstars in the sport.
Next generation.
Well, that is the truth. We are always
There it is.
introducing
Penetrator.
the hottest
Well, that's it.
up-and-coming talent. And Johnny Ova says it's over, but no. Oh!
Oh,
Dan Barry!
right on his head. I think it's over. I think he's going to say it's over. I think Barry's saying it's over.
I think so, and I think it might be. And look at this. He's not through yet. Oh, but Ova fights out of it. How does Johnny Ova keep going? And no, here's a cover. Ova, 1, 2, and he got him.
It's over.
It is over.
Johnny Over.
Still light heavyweight champion.
Mike, I tell you, Mike, it's hard to take the belt away from this kid.
Unbelievable. Every time we think Johnny Ova is finished, he proves us wrong. What a victory for Johnny Ova, our light heavyweight champion. And Fred, as commissioner of JCW, I got to ask, I'd love to see a rematch between these two. What about it?
I beat 3 guys in one night to get that belt.
Really? You should be fired.
3 guys in one night, and this was my first title defense.
Oh, they got to shake it. That just shows the sign of respect both of them have.
Well, that is nice to see, and perhaps there will be another day for Dan Barry. What an impressive match for him. His star is on the rise in spite of...
Wow, that was good.
Taking them out one at a time, Sonya. I mean, hot sauce.
Handling them. You was doing your thing, bro. You was doing your thing.
No mercy. Listen, no mercy. But it's how I rolled.
Okay, you dropped the link in there. I'll add it. I will add it into the
Yeah, that's cool. It's like a little 2-minute highlight video this guy made for me. Pretty dope.
Okay, cool. So
see me flipping all over the place.
So tell us a little bit about that fight. When you were commentating during it, but that was in about what year?
I was probably in about 2004, I think. I would say probably 17, 18, 19 years old, somewhere around there. The years just blend together now. But that was, I believe that was JCW in Jersey Championship Wrestling. I had just won I was the complete underdog in their what's called a gauntlet match. And so a gauntlet match is where 2 people, let's just say there's 6 people in it. 2 people start off. The winner stays in and the next guy comes out. The winner stays in, the next guy comes out. So obviously if you're the last one, you got the advantage. You only have to win once and you win the whole thing. So it's drawn randomly. I was number 3. There was 8 guys in it, and I took everybody out, Sonya. Everybody out.
You the man.
I beat the guy. I beat I think there was a stuffed animal in there somewhere. I beat the manager, the girl. A midget came out. I beat them. I beat them all. Let's go.
Wow. Come on. You know, like I feel like I can do a little something now. I wore my shirt. Only the strong survive. I wore that on purpose.
There we go.
Yeah. So that is so awesome. So let me ask you something, bro. So how do you take what you've learned in wrestling? Well, first of all, let me just make that the last part. So let me ask you. So you said you had a few encounters with the wrestlers we know about, like Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. You know, those are the ones that I'm aware of. So can you tell us how many? Because I know you talked about it a little, but how many have you had a relationship? I know I saw a couple of times where you talked about a couple of wrestlers has passed. And I don't know if you mentioned it, but I know you had talked about it on your page. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Hulk Hogan, I never met, never had an experience with. Ultimate Warrior, I was actually hired by the wrestling figure company that WWE uses to sell their wrestling figures. One of their main outlets was doing like this big thing for WrestleMania weekend, and my assignment was to be with the Ultimate Warrior during the launch of his wrestling figure. So that was pretty cool. Had a cool chance to experience and was able to interview. I think that's on YouTube too. If you start to Johnny Ova and the Ultimate Warrior, I think that's on there as well. So that was a cool experience. But in the ring, I mean, my goodness, I've wrestled Kamala. I've wrestled, oh man, there's so many of them. Tito Santana, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I got to wrestle Ted DiBiase, his son, Ted DiBiase Jr., Doink the Clown, Luna Vachon. Remember Luna and Bam Bam? That was pretty cool. Terry Taylor, who was the Red Rooster in WWE, but terrific Terry Taylor everywhere else. That was awesome. Disco Inferno, Viscera, or King Mabel. Man, just some of the really just the absolute greats in the industry. So, I mean, really cool experiences. And you can tell why these guys are just the absolute best at what they do. The absolute best.
Wow, 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 wow. So, wow, that was a great experience for you, huh? Something. So, do you still wrestle? I know you do something with karate.
Yeah, I don't do pro wrestling anymore. But I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I compete at a high level there. Me and my wife actually also competes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We just competed in the Pan American tournament. It's a national Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament in Florida. It was an awesome experience. My wife took second place. Rachel took second, which is like unbelievable. Not surprising, but unbelievable. So really cool. So, but the wrestling, I did a match like 5 years ago, I would say, but I'm pretty much done. I'm pretty much done doing the pro wrestling stuff. I'm 37. I started when I was 16. And the wear and tear on my body, I was known for about 8 years as the king of the ladder matches. So even though I'm 37, I feel like I wake up and feel like I'm 67. So I got severe nerve damage. I got 2 bulging discs, 4 herniated discs in my back. But I do a lot of working out, fitness, stretching, physical therapy, those types of things, really from a physiotherapist, not like specific physical therapy. But I see a physiotherapist, which is like a chiropractor and a physical therapist mixed together on a monthly basis to keep my body moving. I got young kids. I got to keep up with these guys. So, some of the other, now that you mentioned who I else wrestled, I also had matches with like the newer guys, Chris Sabin, AJ Styles. That's on YouTube. You can watch Johnny Over versus AJ Styles on there. Fought him in Florida. Petey Williams wrestled. So a lot of these like younger guys that have come up there, and I actually got to train some of like the really new popular guys. When Matt Cardona is from Long Island, New York, and he went to the school that I was at. I was only with him for like 3-4 months and training with him, but just to watch what he did in wrestling, pretty awesome, man. He really did some amazing things in the wrestling, in WWE. One of my really good friends, Mikey Mondo, he was live wire back in the day, but he was part of the Spirit Squad in WWE, the male cheerleaders. But he is a phenomenal wrestler, Mikey Mondo, and a really, really good dude. Watching him there. And I don't know some of their WWE names per se, but, Timothy Plasma was one guy who just started when I was kind of, leaving my local and starting to a national type of platform, but he made it to WWE for a bit. And Tony Nese was a little bit after me from also Long Island, but another good guy, good worker. Really good to see Long Island representing on the national scene. Really, really great workers.
Can I ask you something? I heard
sure.
When you hit the floor and you heard the sound like aluminum is under the mat. What is that?
Oh, all right. So let me break some myths, wrestling myths here, okay? Because people think that like, the ring is like a big spring. No, it's not a big spring. All right. So let me tell you what the ring is. The ring is wood. It's a thin wrestling mat, like a wrestling mat in your school, right? Like an amateur wrestling mat, but a thin one, about a half of an inch, on top of wood, on top of what's called metal flex beams. And pretty much what it is solid steel metal beams that are just 18 feet long with nothing in the middle. So you have 2 or 3 that go across this way, and then you have about 8 or 9 that go across this way. So people, they look and they go, oh, it bounces. Yeah, it bounces because my body is crashing into it. That's why it bounces. That's like somebody falling and hitting their head on the curb and the curb breaking. Like, oh, that was easy. The curb broke. It was soft. No. Your head broke the curb. So yeah, no, the body, when your body hits the ring, your body's hitting nothing but wood and metal, which is making it flex up and down.
I never knew that because I used to think that.
And I'll give you another one. The ropes.
Yes.
All right. They are solid. They are steel elevator cables. They're metal. So the ropes, they are elevated cables that wrap around and they get cranked from the side, the turnbuckle pads on turnbuckles. And the pads are actually over what you crank and it pulls them really tight. But what happens is if you think about like an elevated cable, it's like 3 cables that are like wrapped together. When you hit them, they open up and then they bite you. It crinches down if you don't hit the rope right. So there'd be times in my wrestling matches, I'd come home and where I hit the ropes over here, I'd have black and blues from my chest all the way around to my back, and it looked like I got whipped all up and down my side just from hitting the ropes. Hurts tremendously hitting those ropes. So yeah, you're just bouncing off a metal cable. Sometimes they're wrapped in a hose. Doesn't really do much, the hose, but you're hitting metal. So it's springy metal, but metal indeed.
Let me close my mouth. Let me take all that stuff I said back. I had no idea. Because you look at it, you think, and then you hear that sound, you're like, oh, that's just whatever. So let me ask you something else. So when they hit you with these chairs, like you're talking about the wrestler that use and we call that street fighting. Whatever you found in your hand, you beat them with.
So all of that is all the chairs, tables, 100% real. 100% real. So nothing staged, nothing there. And there's I would say the trick is, and this is what I'm saying, it's a trick, but it's really not a trick. So the hardest part of your head is right over here in the center. Mm-hmm. So the trick to getting the metal chairs to hit and not hurt as bad is to swing it as hard as you can and make sure you hit the center of that head. And so I've been wrapped with chairs. Like what I would do specifically to show the crowd that it wasn't fake chairs, I would move people off the chairs they were sitting on, take those, and I would whack them. And I had chairs that would whack. I got hit in the head by Balls Mahoney one time from ECW in an independent show, and it wrapped around my head so hard that I couldn't get it off they needed to pry it off my head because that's how hard it got hit around my head. Wild stuff, but it hurt like it just dings like crazy, but it's absolutely, the chairs are real. Now, some of the sounds that you hear now, there are different styles and techniques. Again, not to give away too many of the tricks of the trade, but you could really go anywhere and watch some of this stuff right now. So when people go wrestling fake, I would say this. I would say wrestling is staged, but not as fake as you think it is. Because me and you could plan a fight and try to make it look real. But if I'm still punching you at what should be 80% of my strength, that is going to hurt if I'm punching you in the face over and over and over again. So, and sometimes it's staged. There's more staged now than it was before where there's storylines wrapped around. But I've been in matches where we did not know who was winning. It was just kind of go out there, feel it out, call it all in the ring. And that's what really a lot of the training is how to make this look real without making it look obvious, and how to hit people without breaking bones and injuring them permanently, and just conditioning your body to be able to take a beating like that. So, you go out there and honestly, it's a storyline too. So like, it's not only making it real, not only the physical pain, but my job as wrestlers to make this crowd believe that everything that's going on in this ring is 100% to the point where they're getting emotionally invested and emotional behind it. Because if you go out there and you stink and your moves look bad and you can't fall and the crowd doesn't care, if they don't care, then the promoter's not making money and you ain't getting booked. So the more you make them care, the more that you are going to get booked. So yeah, the punches, they say, oh, they're stomping. And some people, I hate when I would get into a ring and somebody would stomp, like where they were purposely like stepping their foot and hitting me to try to make it look like it was getting loud. I would turn right around and I would just boom, pop them really good with one, because I want the sound of a ring being stomped on does not sound like flesh being hit. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times what the good wrestlers do, you pull a punch a little bit, but you're still hitting at 80%. So when you're watching a really good wrestling match, the sound is not just coming from the ring, but it's also coming from the smack against your face from the fist as well too. So we don't, the real pros don't take light when you're looking at somebody wrestling. You go, oh my gosh, he's missing him completely. And he's not like that. To us just goes, get this guy off the show and out of here. So yeah, we do see that at times. They're pulling their punch too much and it cannot happen. You need to be connecting with anywhere between 70 and 80% of your punches.
Oh, wow. So listen, we're going to take our last commercial break and then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap this interview up. Hi, this is Hot Sauce. Y'all probably wonder why she's not saying Sonya Green, because
my new tag team partner. Johnny Oven hot sauce coming for you.
Come on, right now. The D in the Long Island that's called lid.
Let's go. You don't want none of hot sauce.
Come on here. We'll be right back. Listen, please share this and follow us on JTOL Productions. We'll be right back after this station break.
This is Latia Davis, owner and CEO of Made by TLT Virtuous Veiling. Covered in beauty, made in prayer is not just a tagline. It's my mission to make garments that are beautiful, affordable, and inspired by God. Sewing is my passion, and every garment is made with you in mind.
Hey everybody, welcome back to JTOLTV Talk, where I am your host, Hot Sauce, with my special guest, Johnny Ova, pastor and apostle of Sound of Heaven Ministries in Long Island, New York. And he was a professional wrestler, and he's telling us all of the juice and the sauce what happened back during his professional wrestling days. And about some things that we have, I questioned, and he just set me straight. Like, don't be playing me. I ain't no punk. So he's explained that. So I just want to thank you for that. But I just want to kind of wrap this thing up. So I remember you said when you first started out, you had a gentleman, I forgot the gentleman's name, that kind of introduced you to Christ. And so now the reason you're pastoring is because of this gentleman. And how has that influenced your ministry, what you've learned in wrestling and what you're doing now?
Well, Bobby Rydell, Agents of the Stars, he's actually part of our team over here at Sound of Heaven Church. So he's the pastor of our children's ministry, and he still does agent work. I'm actually going to be at not a show, but a big signing this weekend with my kids called Wrestling 80s Con in New Jersey, where I know Bobby's helped put that together and get a lot of the talent for that. So it'll be cool seeing everybody again. So you should, if you follow me on Facebook, you see a lot of pictures of wrestlers over the weekend. I know Jesse Ventura is going to be there, which would be pretty dope. So it's going to be pretty cool to kind of hang with some of these guys again. I mean, listen, you learn a lot, and I think the coolest part about it was I did exactly what kind of like my dream was, which was I wanted to make an impact. It's just that the impact was a little bit different than I originally thought it was going to be. And when God gives you a platform to make an impact on somebody's life, then you could use that to honor him and give him glory for that. And the bigger the platform, the more eyes that are on you, the more responsibility you have. And so, I would just say be encouraged during your tests and your trials, because the quicker and the easier that you pass them, the bigger the stage that God is preparing for you to show. It's when God promotes you, it's because you can handle it. Remember, he'll never give you more than you can handle. And that's for the good and the bad, right? He's not going to give you more than you can't handle when things are coming against you. But I'm telling you right now, he's not going to give you more than you can handle as far as blessings go, because if the blessings go to your head, and they make you turn on your faith, or you start, getting distracted by the materialistic things and goals and dreams. As soon as he gives, he can take away to kind of keep you balanced out. So working on those things is important. But, again, just the platform has just been awesome to be able to influence people, to have an influence on kids and teens, and watching them grow up into men and good husbands, good fathers, and having a role in that was pretty awesome. But it's just, again, understanding trials, tribulations, teamwork, working together, enduring through pain, and reacting. Wrestling is a lot of reacting based on what the audience is doing. So it's a very much how I kind of run our ministry in church. Like, people who know me, and it's kind of, I attribute it to a lot of the success of Sound of Heaven. I'm not so conservative and reserved where we're just kind of stuck in the mud, but I'm not so loose where everything's a risk, where one bad decision can make everything. But I will make calculated risks, and some of the risks seem absolutely crazy that we take at times, but these are risks that are well thought out, well prayed about, and we will listen, nobody's perfect, you make mistakes, but we take some risks, and we've seen some pretty amazing turnaround from that. I believe that a lot of comes from just my personality through my wrestling. So, and you're able to react and respond, and I was a risk taker there. I'm a risk taker in life, and I believe sometimes you got to put yourself in position to take a leap of faith where the only thing that could catch you is God. So
that was pretty dope, bro. So listen, so in our last minute or two, can you tell us how we can find you? Where's your church? Where is it located? And just tell us a little bit about that, and then we're
Yeah, absolutely. So like Hot Sauce was saying, I'm Apostle Johnny Ova, located in Long Island, New York. You can check out our website at soh.church. You could also download our free app, and I encourage everybody to do that. Just by go to your app store, your Apple store, Google Marketplace, search Sound of Heaven, download our app. We have really cool Bible studies on there. You can interact with our prayer team. You can watch all of our services live and on demand. We also have a Roku channel. So if you have Roku, just search Sound of Heaven, download the app. It's really good. Listen, during the week, if your church doesn't have like a midweek service or a Sunday night service and you're just looking for a little more, hey, more than happy to have you part of our digital family here and help fuel the passion that you got for your local community and fire. But yeah, a lot of cool teachings, trainings, Bible studies on there. There's a Bible on there, Q&A section on there, a lot of awesome things. So you can download our app. Check me out on Facebook, search Johnny Ova. Get me on Twitter, Johnny Ova with 3 A's. So Johnny Ova, okay, OVAAA. And the same thing on Instagram, Johnny Ova with 3 A's.
All right. Well, brother, I just thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule just to rock with us and just share some of your wisdom, some of your insights. Now that we know that you know how to talk smack, I got to be careful how I approach you now. And then and just and your pro wrestling history and tell your experience with that. And I really thank you for taking the time out to share. So listen, y'all go follow Johnny O. I've always called him my brother. Rarely, every time I address him, he's always brother. So I just really appreciate him taking the time and coming on and sharing some of his experience and knowledge. And listen, follow him. It's a great church, a great atmosphere over there. They have good people, great heart, because I know him and I know his heart toward God. Listen, and the only way I can know that is through God. So listen, Amen. Check him out. You'll really appreciate it. And listen, if you're down there in Long Island, go out there and check his church out.
Come on out. We'll take good care of you.
Yeah,
we'll take good care of you.
Come on through there. And don't talk smack, because he'll smack you down one way, or he'll smack out of his mouth. But for one thing, he will sure lead you to Christ afterwards. So God bless you all. Y'all, thank you for watching JTOLTV, brother. I'm putting you in the green room. We'll be right back. Thank y'all for rocking with us on JTOLTV Talk, where we say boots on the ground is better than what? Seats in the soup, because we have the heart of God. God bless you. Goodbye.
Join us here next time on JTOLTV.